Hi, I want to talk to you about the pros and cons of the new Amazon Fire HD6, which is the new tablet which has just been introduced by Amazon. And I'm going to talk to you mainly from the point of view of an avid reader, because if you follow the Kindle Chronicles at all, you know that's pretty much what I talk about each week on the podcast. And I find this to be a very appealing device for reading as a complement to an e-ink device. In other words, if you have a Kindle Paperwhite, you've got the e-ink advantages. You can read in bed. You've got the lights for reading in bed. You can also, of course, read on the beach. And then if you want the advantages of reading in color, if you've got a book that has some color photographs, or maybe there are some links and you want to get to them very quickly, reading on an HD tablet can have its advantages. There's something very complementary about these two devices if much of what you do is reading books. Now, it's also has a terrific video capability, and I think you'll find that for watching videos, it's perfectly adequate. The only downside to watching videos that I've found is that the loudness is not quite as good as it is on the HD7, which was the tablet introduced a year ago by Amazon and is still in the lineup. So here you've got, this is Alpha House, and the video is very smooth. You're probably hearing it okay on the recording I'm doing. But what I find is if I'm on a cross trainer, I can't depend on this audio to overcome the noise of the machine, so I end up having to use the earbuds. One of the big advantages of this is the price, $99 for the 8 gigabyte version. Again, if you're primarily reading books, 8 gigabytes is probably okay. You can fit a lot of books on that, but if you plan to download a movie for a flight, you're going to find the memory the storage is pretty limited. And what I've bought for my personal use is a 16 gigabyte version of the HD6 because it just has more room, and I wish there was a 32 gigabyte, but there isn't. It's one nice thing which I've discovered on this is that, which you can't do on an e-ink device, is there are playlists with Prime Music, and one of them is called Classical for Reading. And it's a nice collection starting with Yo-Yo Ma playing Bach, and it's got a lot of, I'll turn the volume, make sure I get the volume up all the way here. So you can have you can be reading Yo-Yo Ma, or you can be listening to Yo-Yo Ma while you're reading your book, or this is a magazine in this case. That's actually a little too loud. So for that use, the audio is fine. And if you want to use that classical reading list for reading while you're reading on your HD6, that can be pretty pleasant. Now, there are some drawbacks to the device. As I mentioned, I think the audio is weak compared to the HDX 7-inch last year's model, which is still in the lineup. Another big drawback is that there is no Mayday support. So compared with the HDX tablets, which are now in the lineup, you won't be able to get a live video chat with a tech person to help you with a problem. These are great because they can see your screen and they can in fact even control your screen. You do get good support from Amazon with the phone help, and but you have to be saying, all right, which button do I press, and you've got to describe what's on the screen. So it's certainly not as useful as the real Mayday, but it's part of how they kept the price down to $99 for the 8 gigabyte model. It's a little chunky, compared with, say, the iPad here. You've got, and I've got cases on all these, so it's just a little chunkier there. So if it was going to be improved and could be a little thinner and still have this same outline form factor, that would be great. To sum up, I think that what I like most about this device is simply its size. To kind of give you finish giving you the image of that. Here's the HD6 with an iPad Mini, and you can see that the iPad Mini is taller and wider. It's about the same weight, but in terms of feeling like a paperback book, this is the one that has much more of a feeling. This feels like a tablet, just something completely different. Same thing with the Nexus 7, which is a very nice tablet. It's also got a nice size, but it's taller. I think it's about the same width as the HT6, but you've got this tall, and I find sometimes when I'm reading on this device with the Kindle app, it has a feeling of sort of, wanting to fall over because it's so much longer. There's more weight on the wrist than there is on this one. And then it's also, you can see how the form is different than the HDX 7-inch, last year's model, both on the height and the width. And I've relied on this tablet a lot. You can tell that I've switched to the HT6 because on this one the battery's dead. But I find it's much easier to settle back and read with this than the HDX. HDX 7 has the Mayday, and it's got a better speaker, and you can get it in 32 gigabytes. So I hope that's helpful, and also that if you haven't checked out the Kindle Chronicles podcast, which I've done every Friday for over 6 years now, that you'll check it out. Tech tips, interviews with people doing interesting things in ebooks, Amazon executives, and also just ways for you to get the most out of your Kindle and to continue a conversation about what these devices have done in changing the way we read. That's my passion. That's what I love talking about every weekend. I really appreciate those of you who have been following regularly. And if you have any questions, I hope you'll send me an email. I'll have the address in the notes to this video, and you can also find more information at thekindlechronicles.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's usually thanks for listening, but in this case, thanks for watching.